It's Democrats. They're such a frightened group of people. People, they still think that Trump is going to win. This is kind of shocking to me. Like, don't you live with people? Are you not aware that there's going to be a tsunami of women voting between now and election day? That they were told 2.5 years ago that they no longer control their own bodies.
Do you not put credence in those polls that show what is a dead heat here?
I don't think it's a dead heat.
For people who don't know, we kind of led with this by talking about film so much. One of the huge flagship inspirations for me and Gavin, and I think one of the guys that really set the course for our political evolution, was Michael Moore. For people who haven't seen his debut film, Roger and Me, it's essential viewing, but he's made probably a dozen great, informative, entertaining films. He used his platform on the Oscar stage to call out George Bush and the fraudulent Iraq war, the illegal Iraq war, the sham Iraq war. It's a legendary clip. We would play it. We would play it always, but they always copyright strike us when we try. Anyway, in addition to being a tremendous filmmaker, a man who loves his hometown of Flint, Michigan, Michael Moore is the oracle of American elections. We call him on this podcast the Michael Mooracle. Not only did he raise the alarm that Donald Trump was going to beat Hillary Clinton in 2016 when nobody believed him. Not only did he know Barack Obama was going to win both elections, this man also forecasted Joe Biden W. And as we hinted earlier, he debunked all of the talking points of a midterm red wave. He said, nope, it's going to be another blue wave. People don't like election deniers. He was 100% right. And now, Gavin, he's prepared to call it 1 month out, 2024.
Yeah, super excited to take a look at this one, man. Obviously, Zach and I have a lot of respect for Michael Moore. And even if you don't have a lot of respect for Michael Moore, you should have a level of reverence for this man's predictions and his capacity to make accurate predictions.
It's Democrats. They're such a frightened group of people. People, they still think that Trump is going to win. This is kind of shocking to me. Like, don't you live with people? Are you not aware that there's going to be a tsunami of women voting between now and election day? That they were told 2.5 years ago that they no longer control their own bodies.
Do you not put credence in those polls that show what is a dead heat here?
I don't think it's a dead heat. I think, and I'm not saying I don't put credence in them, but I'll just go back to the morning of Election Day 2016 on the front page of the New York Times, where, according to their latest poll, said that Hillary, quote, has an 85% chance of winning today's election. Trump only has a 15% chance. That was the morning of the election. All right. No, I don't think people should be running their lives based on these polls.
Boom. So anyway, not only does he forecast a Kamala W, he's appalled that other people don't see it coming. And he predicts, shockingly, Gavin, just as we've predicted and documented over and over again. Roll the tape from our Crystal Kyle interview. Roll the tape from countless Vanguard live streams. Look at our Twitter feed. We've called it all along. We've said the polls are oversampling Republicans. They're counting on an invisible Trump vote that's just not there. Michael Moore sees it. The Vanguard sees it. What's your reaction to that, Gavin?
Oh, I mean, I totally agree with Michael. Totally agree with him. And yeah, I get this whole freaking attitude of like, don't be complacent, vote. Obviously, I agree with that. But we run a small show. We're not CNN hosts. We don't have that big of a reach. I think we can just be honest with you guys without having to worry about, like, will it depress the vote? No, we can just be straight. We can just be honest and tell you guys the truth. And that's exactly what Michael Moore did, despite the fact that he said it on a much bigger platform than ours, right? Yeah, the energy is 100% with Kamala Harris. The momentum is 100% with Kamala Harris, barring some black swan event, some absolute insanity that completely changes the chessboard. Yeah, she's going to win. She's definitely going to win. And, when Michael Moore said, do you guys not talk to people in your normal lives? Are you guys not paying attention to what people are saying out IRL? I think there's a lot of weight to that. Some people might assume, what are you talking about, Michael Moore? Aren't you a celebrity? Aren't you some, Democratic elite? Don't you live in an echo chamber? No. Michael Moore still lives in Michigan to this day.
I think he still lives,
in Flint, right?
Yeah, he has a house there. I don't know how much time he spends.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's a nice house, but the fact of the matter is the guy still lives in Flint. He's surrounded with normal people. He doesn't live in freaking Beverly Hills. He doesn't live in like Northern Virginia or whatever in some like wealthy suburb outside of DC. Yeah. Like, no, he actually does live in a swing state, in a community surrounded by real people. And people in Michigan have a lot of reason to be pissed off by the Democrats. Don't get me wrong, guys. We've had Jordan Chariton on the show to talk about some of the insane stuff that's happened under Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer, like the poisoning of people in Kalamazoo thanks to the massive chemical plant that's there. You know what I'm saying? So
Obama pretended to drink the water in Flint.
Flint, Michigan, exactly, happened under Obama. So it's not like there's not any reason to worry about a state like Michigan, swing states in general. But I do take a lot of stock in what Michael Moore says. And I don't get the sense that Michael Moore's the kind of guy that would ever just tell his audience what they want to hear.
He never does.
We have proof of that. 2016.
People called him crazy, guys.
People lampooned him for accurately predicting that Donald Trump would win.
But anyway, what I think is also great about Michael Moore is that even though he's come out and he's like, yeah, guys, I don't think Trump has a snowball's chance in hell. When pigs fly, Trump will win the presidency again, right? That's kind of his posturing right here. In addition to that, he still has advice. He still has notes for Kamala Harris, and they all come directly from the left. I happen to agree with them. Let me read them to you and see what you think, Gavin. On the same day Vice President Kamala Harris is campaigning in Flint, Michigan, filmmaker Michael Moore is warning of a fatal mistake that could be made in these last 4 to 5 weeks. So Gavin said, barring any unforeseen circumstances, that's kind of what Michael Moore is saying. He's saying right now, if the election were held today, it would be open and shut, but Kamala still has time to shit the bed. There could still be a catastrophe. He says, if Harris is advised by her wealthy donors to shun the left and drop her more progressive positions in favor of a move to the center, Moore writes in a new Substack post, it could reduce or depress the vote. Right now, if you know how to really read the polls, or if you have access to the various private and internal polling being conducted by and shared only amongst the elites, Wall Street, and members of Congress, then you already know this election was over weeks ago. Boom! That's also exactly what the Vanguard said. And if you guys are wondering, I haven't actually heard that much from Michael Moore. It's because he's so confident that there's almost nothing Kamala Harris can do to lose this election that he doesn't feel the need to come out and lie in front of traffic for her to try and take shots and say, hey, lefties, I know you have disagreements with this woman, but let me please convince you to vote for her anyway because she already knows it's over. So just like the Vanguard told you, just like Michael Moore has now told you, okay, the Oracle himself, it's long over, guys. We have to start considering our plan for January when Kamala Harris becomes president.
Yep. I think that's pretty well said, Zach. I think that Michael Moore is 100% on point, and I think that he's correct. I believe Kamala Harris will win this election. Basically, no matter what her strategy is, I've predicted from day one that her strategy would be exactly what it turned out to be. I said, hey, guys, this is good, but don't expect her to sound based on foreign policy. Don't expect her to sound based on immigration. She's going to play it safe. That's been my prediction. But I agree with Michael Moore that, if she hadn't taken that course, then she could win by an even bigger margin. She could win in a historical, like Obama level way if she hadn't have played it safe and gone for the centrist voters, gone for the never Trump Republicans in such an aggressive fashion, right? Why do I say that? Because think about the two Democrats who really, truly united a mass movement behind them, at least in my lifetime. That was Barack Obama and Bernie Sanders. And they didn't do that by moving to the right. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do that by trying to convince a bunch of freaking Republicans to get behind them. Obviously, you can point to examples where Obama played it safe, specifically as a black man. I think he told like black kids to pull their pants up or some stupid shit like that. But for the most part, Obama ran a progressive campaign. He did not run a safe campaign. He talked about ending the wars. He's talked about standing up to Wall Street. He talked about standing up to the establishment, and he was rewarded with a massive nationwide following, young people, old people, people of color, people on the internet, etc. It was like nothing the Democrats had seen before in the 20th or the 21st century. In the same way, Bernie Sanders also united a mass movement based around progressivism, not around sounding like a Republican. So yeah, I think Kamala Harris could be even more popular. I think she could be even more of a movement leader if she wanted to, but for whatever reason, she's still playing it safe. That being said, she's going to win anyway.